Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a video on some more anti-chess tactics. So I've got a move here that I've named the Joust. And basically what that is, we've got the rook and the knight on the A file, and there's no pawn in between them, which is a little bit unusual. Usually you have a pawn sitting here, and so I think that's kind of what surprises the opponent a little bit, because they're used to a pawn sitting there. So basically what we're doing here is lining up two kills. So this is just an example. I kind of just threw the pieces on the board to demonstrate this. So this is black moving forward to get rid of this knight, because that e3 square is double covered. And then what the joust is that I bring my knight out to attack his A pawn, knowing that now basically he has two kills lined up as I'm attacking the knight back. So I kill his knight back, and then now I have his rook. So I've got a few games to show how this happened in practice. So in this particular game I used the this is the modest opening when you go b3 after e3, and I tend to find this is the best spot to find the joust, because we kind of get this line is pretty common for black to use. And so at this point I've captured back with my A pawn, so I've got my pieces in the position that I'm looking for. And so then we kind of just trade some pieces here. At this point he kind of makes the mistake, which allows me to set up for my joust. And so basically what I'm looking at here is I can move my knight out, and then he comes down and attacks my H pawn, and then I attack his A pawn. So basically if he attacks back here, I can recapture this rook, and then he has to come all the way down here. And then instead, like if he attacks either my rook or my king, then I can just slide my rook over, and then now I've got two of his rooks. So say he attacks my king, like I said, I can just slide my rook over, and now I've got two different rooks that I can use, and it's easy enough cleaning. So he resigned there. My second game, kind of have a different opening to get to this position. But so I've lined my rook and my knight up how I want them, but right now I actually have this pawn that I would need to get rid of. And in this game he moved his knight out, which allowed me to get rid of that pawn. So then now I'm in that position to do the joust. He grabs my queen, we trade some pieces. I'm kind of moving around here, and then this is where he brings his knight out. So this is similar to that open example that I showed. So after he attacks here, there's no other piece for him to attack. So then I can do my joust where I attack his A pawn, and now he has to kill my rook because of the way that it's set up. And again, all my pieces are lined up in a nice rectangle for him to kill all my pieces, and I can get the win. This game started off with the modest defense again, but it kind of goes a different line. Kind of interesting how we get here, but in the end, after some pieces, again I've got my pieces lined up for the joust. He brings his queen out, or not his queen, his bishop out onto a6, which again, if you guys listen to my videos, this is a no-no. Perfect spot for intermediates. So I can slide my rook over and basically go grab his rook. So either direction as he goes, I still get his rook. So we do that, and now I'm set up to do the joust again. So he captures down here, I do the joust, and now if he captures back, if he takes my knight, I take his rook, and then I've got his rook on the A file to go through my pieces. If he captures my king, I can just slide my rook over. So now I've got two rooks that I can play with, and so I just kind of move off to the side, and he resigns. And then one more example of this, again with the modest opening. So this time we get a little bit different of a setup, But a similar tactic here where we bring that bishop to a6 because like, oh, this piece is double covered, but it's never that simple. Like I can just do intermediate. So I've got my queen to come out. And at this point, I'm capturing back with my rook. So I have my rook and my knight set up the way I want. So instead of having it on a1, it's on a2, but it still does the exact same thing. So he doesn't have really any good plays in that corner. So now I've got his rook, and then I can do the joust. This is a little bit different, though, in the sense that he's got pieces, or like, I don't have a piece to like hide my rook underneath. And so if I slide it over, I have to attack one of those two pieces. So I have to be a little bit more careful. And then also just kind of needing to calculate like if he takes my knight here, then I can just recapture his rook and he has to come down. So he takes my pawn, and so I kind of want to keep that same threat going where I want to attack the rook that he has on my side so that these two kills are still lined up. So I threaten to take his rook again. So then he attacks over here, which now I look at it and say, hey, now I can slide my rook out of the way because this king that I'm attacking next is covered by his knight. And so then I can come back over and now grab this rook and get the win. If we come back here, if he instead, like I said, if he takes the knight, then I can just take this rook and run the pieces that way. So that's the joust. It's kind of a cool little tactic that I've been messing around with. Like that particular setup where you've got your knight and sitting in front of an open rook. It's kind of just an interesting kind of position to be in. I found it to be advantageous. So that's the tactic. Hope you guys liked it. We'll see you next time.